Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahabushai, Bahasham, Barakahak Wadash, Barakatum. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and infinite honors to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahabushai. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule and teach well. In peace and salutations to you sincere Akim out there, pushing this word in truth and sincerity to the four corners of the globe. May you brothers endure until the end. This is the brother Ra'aya coming at you with another lesson. And I'm going to start it off in Luke chapter 23, verses 27. And this is when Yahabushai, the son of the Most High, whom the world ignorantly refers to as so-called Jesus, was carrying his cross, going to his crucifixion. And there followed him a great company of people and of women, which also bewailed and lamented him. And keep the women part in mind. But Yahawashi turning unto them said, Daughters of Jerusalem, weep not for me, but weep for yourselves and for your children. For behold, the days are coming, in the which they shall say, Blessed are the barren, and the wombs that never bare, and the paps which never gave suck. Because about 40 years after Yahawashi's, death, and of course he rose again, you had 70 AD, where the Edomite, or so-called white people, but, the Edomite Roman military, because the Edomites were the Romans back then, came and besieged Jerusalem and caused a great slaughter. And Yahawashi was telling them, look, you're weeping for me, but I'm going back to the Father, safe in the, the third heaven, the spirit world. But as for you, hey, you're going to pray that you won't have children or be pregnant in the days to come, because, the enemy is about to come in like a flood and cause a great slaughter, sparing not men, women, children, young or old. Verse 30, then shall they begin to say to the mountains, fall on us, and to the hills, cover us. Verse 31, for if they do these things in a green tree, what shall be done in the dry? And this is the main point I wanted to get to, because while this was initially talking about 70 AD and the great slaughter and judgment that came with that, as it says in Romans 15, everything written aforetime was written for our learning. We're about to come into the times again when a great slaughter and judgment is coming down. The times of Jacob's trouble, where all hell is going to break loose, especially in the United States of America. And even before, things have gotten completely bad, people are already starting to lose it and wild out here. Again, for if they do these things in a green tree, what shall be done in the dry? When those food shortages truly hit, when pestilences are out here causing people to drop suddenly, you've got troops on the street, anarchy, chaos, martial law, cannibalism, raping, killing, concentration camps, you name it. But I opened up the video with these verses to preface this clip from NBC Chicago's YouTube channel titled, Yes, There's a Scream Club in Chicago. Matt Rodriguez sat down with the creators of Chicago's Scream Club, which draws hundreds to the lakefront each week to let out their rage. And as we'll see in this clip, these people put this Scream Club together for people to come, to the lakefront and scream and vent their frustrations with society. Like I just said, people are already on edge now. You got the cost of living crisis with things getting more expensive, inflation, people working 2 to 3 jobs, but still one paycheck away from going homeless, many people getting laid off, businesses shutting down, and then the looming threat of World War III. But people are still able to go to the stores and get their GMO foods and watch Netflix. How do you think these people are going to be when the creature comforts and the bread and circuses are taken away? They're going to do more than just scream. But before I play that clip, this is Jeremiah 30, verse 7. Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, a point worse than any other time in human history, even worse than 70 AD. And remember what Yahushua said back then, weep not for me, but for yourselves. And they shall say in those days, blessed be the barren and those whose paps have never gave suck. And it's going to apply even more so today in this time like none other, Jacob's trouble. But he shall be saved out of it. Speaking of the elect of the nation of Israel, the nation of Israel consisting of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, as well as the Israelite foreigners who through the scattering and the curses have come to look like these heathen nations. But as for the wicked of our people, the 2/3 that are in America, and you heathens which have no goddamn hope, hey, it's gonna be worse than any nightmare you could ever dream of. But this is a fair use copyright disclaimer. I do not own any of the footage in this clip, nor do I stand to gain from it monetarily. It is simply for educational purposes.
Welcome back. Time now for Matt in the Morning. And today he's giving us reason to scream.
But in a good way. Take a listen.
In 3, 2, 1.
Oh, yeah, you could tell that was fun for them. Matt joined hundreds of other people last night along the lakefront. They took part in Chicago Scream Clubs.
And notice how it's mainly women out there. Like I said, when we were reading that Luke 23, remember how it said, and the daughters of Jerusalem, which, those are heathen women, but, the daughters of Jerusalem were weeping and lamenting. Hey, you women are about to experience holy hell out here. I just did a video the other day, showing how men out here get more aggressive and not taking no for an answer when they get rejected, by women. One guy threw some water in a woman's face for not giving him her number, and another guy who was friend zoned, shot his female friend in the face because she didn't want to have a relationship with him. Remember, if they do these things in the green tree, how much more in the dry? When it's all hell out here, no law or order, chaos.
Weekly meeting.
Matt's here now to tell us how it went and how it all started. Good morning.
Yes, I am here with, I do still have my voice, by the way. I can speak after that screaming. I'm here with Manny Hernandez and Elena Soboleva, the co-founders of Scream Club Chicago. Okay, you got to explain to people what that was all about, because they think I'm out there now.
Yeah, so Elena and I started the Scream Club Chicago, where we collectively, just a bunch of people meet up at the lake and let go of whatever stresses and anxieties or anger that they've had throughout the week, and scream it out into the void, into the lake.
And this has really grown, Elena, right?
And hey, like I've been saying throughout the video, people are, in a bad case right now. And that's, ultimately because the wicked is in rulership. The biblical wicked being Esau, Edom, the so-called white man who runs society ass backwards. This society you see is not how things are supposed to be ran. Hence why you got a bunch of single, worn out women and baby mamas running around out here, sodomites running around, GMO foods, a polluted environment, men and women hating each other. The list can go on and on. Hence why people are just completely frustrated and broken out here. And the only thing that's holding a lot of these people together is, again, their creature comforts, their bread and circus, waiting for football season to come up, going to buy some, GMO food at the grocery store or at Burger King, you name it. But when all that shit is taken away and people are going to have to face, the reality of the situation and who they are, hey, it's going to be bad. Just look at 2019 to 2021 when people had to stay in the house and really have to, reflect on the kind of people they were. People were cracking psychologically and mentally, and a lot of people at the beginning of it were swan diving out of their 5-story apartment windows. But I'm gonna go to Isaiah chapter 24, I'm going to start at verse 4. The earth mourneth and fadeth away. The world languisheth and fadeth away. The haughty or the proud people of the earth do languish. And when we get that word languish, it's H535, a mal, which reads, to be weak, to droop, to languish, to be exhausted, to be or grow feeble. And the earth and the environment is languishing, and the haughty or the proud people on it are languishing as well. Hence, why you got people joining something as stupid as a fucking scream club and going out one day of the week and screaming out to vent their frustrations because there's nothing else they can do to escape their situation. And why are these people stressed out? Verse 5, the earth also is defiled under the inhabitants thereof. Job 9 verse 24, the earth has been given into the hands of the wicked. And Malachi 1 verse 4, which lets you know who the wicked is. The border of wickedness, Esau, Edom. Wherever Esau sets up his border, wickedness follows. And for this little season of his final rulership, the earth has been given into his hands. So what? The earth is languishing and defiled underneath it, as well as the people in it, because they have transgressed the laws, changed the ordinance, and broken the everlasting covenant. Esau, Edom has built an artificial society, a fake society, completely contrary to righteousness and the laws, statutes, and commandments of the scriptures. Hence why it's a shithole right now. But now, actually, before I go down, I'm going to get Proverbs 29 verse 2. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. When the children of Israel, beginning with the elect, are back in rulership in the kingdom of heaven, governing this planet under the laws, statutes, and commandments, the earth and the people on it are going to rejoice because they're finally going to be at peace. But when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. The earth is defiled and languisheth, and the haughty people are defiled and languisheth as well, because the wicked are in authority. This is Isaiah 19 verse 4. And this is speaking of spiritual Egypt as pursuant to Revelation 11 verse 8, the United States of America. And the Egyptians, the Americans, will I give over into the hand of a cruel Lord, and a fierce king shall rule over them, saith the Lord, Yahweh of hosts. And with the way this man's moving, the Edomite, Nero in the reincarnation, DJ Donald Trump, is looking like that fierce king and that cruel Lord to rule over spiritual Egypt, America. And, you know, with that big, beautiful bill passing, and, you know, with a lot of other legislation he's been pushing through, a lot of people are losing their government assistance and other benefits they had in society that was really some of the only things keeping them together, which has got a lot of people mourning. And it's only going to get worse as we go further into Jacob's trouble. But back in Isaiah chapter 24, I'm going to jump down to verse 7. The new wine mourneth, the vine languisheth, all the merry-hearted do sigh, or in this case, scream. The mirth of the tabrets ceaseth, the noise of them that rejoice endeth, the joy of the harp ceaseth. They shall not drink wine with a song, strong drink shall be bitter to them that drink it. And if you look up the statistics, you know, an increase in alcohol and drug use among Americans, you know, has taken place over the last couple of years, you know, which the C-19 had a big part in it. But just this continuing deteriorating situation out here has got people stressed out. Instead of drinking to celebrate a job promotion or going out to have a good time, and people are drinking to drown out the sorrow of their current predicament. And as I said, the mirth of the tabrets ceaseth, the noise of them that rejoice endeth, the joy of the harp ceaseth. And, you know, there have been plenty of videos, you know, over these last couple of holidays, you know, Christmas, Thanksgiving, New Year's, you name it, where people have said, man, Christmas just doesn't feel the same. You know, people don't have money to buy presents. People aren't in that jovial spirit. And, you know, in Thanksgiving, families aren't even coming, you know, together anymore. Everybody hates each other and they're just staying home. Hey, this place is breaking down quickly, as well as the haughty people in it. Verse 10, the city of confusion is broken down. And Babylon is Babal in the Hebrew, which means confusion by mixing. And another name for America in the scriptures is Babylon the Great. So the city of confusion, America, Egypt, is broken down. Every house is shut up that no man may come in. People getting laid off their jobs, businesses going out and shutting down stores. Verse 11, there is a crying for wine in the streets, crying for answers. What are we going to do? How can we make this situation better? And and again, in this case, people having a scream club to where the only thing they can do is scream to vent their frustrations. All joy is darkened. The mirth of the land is gone.
This is something I don't think any of you expected, because it started with just the two of you trying to let some stress out, right?
Yeah, it's just beginning like a little ritual for us, and in the span of a couple of weeks it's just expanded, and it's so amazing to see how many people really come to us and tell us this is something we needed. Thank you for doing this.
Right, because I gotta say, I went last night. I went with my niece. My niece is there. I'm like, I'm taking you to something. We're gonna go scream at the lake. And originally, I had like just a couple people. Last night, there were hundreds of people there. I say almost 300, which is incredible to me. And you see, this is what really moved me. You see so many different emotions out there, because I think some people might roll their eyes like, what is screaming gonna do? I mean, people were crying, people were laughing, people were angry, people were happy.
All the merry-hearted do sigh. The mirth of the tabrets ceaseth. The joy is darkened. The haughty people do languish.
So much. And what have you experienced from people after guiding them in this way?
Yeah, exactly what you said. Is there's everyone comes up to me afterwards and gives me a hug or says, I didn't know I needed to do that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for letting me have that space and freedom to do that. Because if I did it by myself, people would think I'm weird. So you've given us the opportunity to release collectively together.
Why do you think screaming unlocks our emotions?
Well, I think because we're always taught to kind of keep it in.
Yeah.
I think that we're always told to suppress our emotions, suppress our feelings. And the fact that you get to do that without judgment is, I think, why it's so therapeutic. Not so much therapeutic, but cathartic, I would say.
Yeah. And Elena, at this point, people from all over the world have reached out to you to say, how can we do this Scream Club in our town? And so how do you...
And not just you Americans who are completely fucking through. All you can do is scream at this point. But what did he just say? People around the world have contacted, about this Scream Club. The earth has been given into the hands of the wicked. When the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. The haughty people of the earth, not just America, are languishing.
How do you navigate all that?
It's been a little overwhelming.
Yeah.
But it just tells us how much it's needed right now in the world. And we really want to expand it and make it globally. And maybe it is going to turn into some global movement. And our intention is to create a safe space for people to welcome any emotions and release. And I think everyone in the world would need it right now.
Yeah, I agree. Do you have a website?
Yeah, it's...
If they do this in a green tree, how much more in the dry? I'm going to go to Ezekiel chapter 2. I'm going to read verses 9 to 10. And when I looked, behold, an hand was sent unto me, and lo, a roll of a book was therein. And he spread it before me, and it was written within and without, speaking of the scriptures, which as it's known today is the Bible, the Old Testament and the New Testament, as well as the Apocrypha, which is a part of the Old Testament. And there was written therein lamentations and mourning and woe, the great judgments of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, which are about to exceed themselves during Jacob's trouble, a time like no other. And best believe there's going to be a lot of lamentations and mourning. Hell, shit ain't even bad yet, and people are screaming their lungs out. This is 2nd Esdras chapter 8 in the Apocrypha, verse 50. For many great miseries shall be done to them that in the latter time shall dwell in the world, which we're living in these latter times right now, because they have walked in great pride. And I can guarantee it. If you were to look at those people out there screaming, in their daily lives, they're proud, they're arrogant, they're narcissistic, all the terrible human traits that they complain about other people having, and that is heavily promoted in the United States of America. So when these judgments and great miseries come down, hey, every single one of you out there deserves it. And hey, that's why, I pray that I am of that elect number, and I'm diligently doing the work of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai right now, so I can be saved from these calamities, because I'm not exempt either. There are things, before I came into the truth, I was in the world committing sin. So, I'm trying to wash the blood off of my hands. Hey, but you people out there, 2/3 of you Israelites in America and you other heathen Americans, hey, there's no hope for you. All right. Now, let's go to 2nd Esdras chapter 16 in the Apocrypha, verses 17 to 23, to just get a few examples of some of those great miseries that are about to come to you people that have walked in great pride. Woe is me, woe is me. Who will deliver me in those days? Jacob's trouble, the times like no other, the beginning of sorrows and great mournings. Hey, we're just in the beginning stages of it right now. And hey, the beginning of great mournings, people are mourning and crying because that's all they can do, because they don't see any hope coming their way. The beginning of famine and great death. Famines and food shortages are coming, which is going to lead to great death out here. The beginning of wars. It's like every other day in the news you hear about World War III, these various different wars with Ukraine and NATO and Russia and the US, China and Taiwan, Israel and Iran. And now you're hearing about talks of nuclear weapons being used. And the powers shall stand in fear. The beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? Hey, if you're an Israelite that has come across, the prophets and heard this word and it resonates with your spirit, hey, do whatever you can to come back to your power, Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, to hope to be saved in these days to come. Verse 19, behold, famine and plague, pestilences, these different diseases out here, flesh-eating bacteria. You had the C19, the MPOX, the avian sneeze, all the Ebola, Marburg, all these things, and even more things. Just giving some examples, because hey, they're coming, whether naturally occurring or man-made. Behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment, for correction, judgment. But for all these things they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges. Here you see the situation, and I'm speaking to you Israelites right now. Here you see the situation deteriorating out here, and you're looking for answers. But Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai has sent you the men of the Lord, the prophets, chiefly of GMS or Great Millstone, as well as the brothers coming in the spirit of GMS, out on the highways and byways preaching this word, as well as putting up video epistles like this, telling you of the times to come and what you can do to be saved out of them. But hey, you're not mindful, of the scourges, not turning from your wickedness, and just trying to find another way to help yourself out here. Behold, victuals, food, these other creature comforts out here shall be so good cheap upon the earth, which with inflation we can see this is no longer the case, that they shall think themselves to be in a good case. And even then shall evils grow upon the earth, sword, famine, and great confusion, those great miseries. For many of them that dwell upon the earth shall perish of famine, starving to death, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. And you may escape starving to death by, deleting your neighbor and taking his food, or cannibalizing someone. But, if you're not of that elect number, you're going to get killed in these race wars out here. Martial law with foreign and domestic troops patrolling the streets, or these robots they've got, getting sent to a detention center like Alligator Alcatraz or one of these other camps they're openly talking about now, getting drafted to go fight in World War III, or ultimately getting burned up by nuclear missiles. Verse 23, and the dead shall be cast out as dung, shit, and there shall be no man to comfort them. So many dead bodies laying around and so much death that people won't have time to mourn or bury the bodies. They're just going to have to step over them and keep on going. For the earth shall be wasted and the cities shall be cast down. But now I'm going to close it out in Daniel chapter 12, verse 1. And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince which standeth for the children of thy people. Jacob's trouble is going to be so bad that even the archangel Michael is going to have to intervene on the behalf of the elect. And there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to the same time. Jacob's trouble, which remember what we started off with in Luke. Yahushua told them women not to mourn for him, but for themselves. And blessed are those that don't have children or have barren wombs, for the terrible times to come. And these times are going to be even worse than that. Worse than World War I, World War II, the transatlantic slave trade, or any other human tragedy you can think of. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book, the book of life. Speaking of the elect of the nation of Israel, or who are doing whatever they can right now to please their power, Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai, to be saved from these times to come. So that's it with this video. With this video, I hope you sincere Akim and Akwath were edified. Just keep strong. We are almost out of this final wicked captivity of the heathen nations, chiefly of the Edomites. And as always, I'm going to say Abad Babal, Kwam Yasharallah, and until next time, Shalom.